The Rothman Institute presents Take 5 on Hawks All Access.
Summer's over, Hawk fans, which means two things. Classes are back in session, and Take 5 is back. Thanks for joining us for the first installment of our 5th season. And with us today is an icon on Hawk Hill who's been with us a whole lot longer than that, men's soccer head coach Don D'Ambra. Don, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Nikki.
Men's soccer team is off to its best start since the 2002 season with a 5-1-2 record through its first 8 games. Talk a little bit about the team this year and what makes them so successful in the early going.
It's been a work in progress. Some of our older guys have really set the tone. It starts in camp. They came in shape. They came in fit, passed all the fitness testing, came in focused and hungry to have a good year. And on top of that, our young guys have really matured within probably the first 3-4 games. You saw a good maturity increase in some of our freshmen and sophomores that are getting a lot of time. So for these guys to be playing with such poise and execution has been really helpful, particularly to the older guys out there.
Absolutely. You played here and remained the school's leading scorer, and then you went and coached and played professionally, but now you're back as a coach. So what makes St. Joseph's such a special place to you?
I consider it home. Very comfortable with the people. Obviously, when I was here as a student, I chose St. Joe's because of everything it had to offer academically, but just a lot of the people involved, a lot of the athletic people, the soccer people, the administrators, and now coming back to coach at the program where I started is, it's gratifying. It's a lot of the same people still here, so I consider them family. I'm very comfortable. Love working for the administration here, the athletic department, and they're allowing me and supporting me to do what I feel is best for the program, which is important to me. And I think that with the school and with our athletic facilities, I think we have a lot of potential.
If you weren't coaching soccer, what do you think your job would be? What do you think you'd be doing?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Probably a far stretch.
That's a tough one. I don't know. If I wasn't, I graduated with a food marketing degree, so I would imagine I'd be in some sort of business.
Okay, makes sense. The country caught a little bit of soccer fever this summer with the U.S. men's national team's run in the World Cup, and then the women's national team preparing for the Women's Cup in 2015. What do you think? What do you think attributes to the growth in this country of the sport?
I think it's a culmination of a few things. I think if you noticed and watched the World Cup this year, and you'll see it with the Women's World Cup approaching, is that there's a really young crowd. You saw a lot of young kids into it wearing the jerseys, and I think youth soccer has come a long way. U.S. Soccer has developed a youth academy system that's throughout the whole country. You see a lot of just the local clubs that are just getting higher and higher level coaching, and it's increased the level of training, and they're bringing in newer foreign techniques of teaching. I think on that aspect it's been great. On the other side of it, it's funny to say, but I think video games has helped, because a lot of the young generation, they're playing these FIFA World Cup, and they're knowing all the international players, and they're now interested and more knowledgeable of what's going on around the country. I think the MLS and David Beckham coming to the LA Galaxy has brought a global awareness to our country in soccer. So I think it's a bunch of different things, but I think, right now the state of our professional league, the MLS, is doing really well. They're selling out crowds. They're getting soccer-specific stadiums, and this is only going to help college soccer and youth soccer. So I think it's on the rise.
Absolutely, and that was going to be my next question for you. Where do you see the game going? Do you see it continuing to grow in this country?
I do. I think soccer is going to be knocking on the door to be one of the top 4 sports in the country. I think, like I said, the big market areas, they comprise of a lot of ethnicity and internationals, and the young generation, it seems to be really catching on to the game. So I think it's just a matter of time before the game. I think if USA continues to get better on a national level and actually compete to win a World Cup, I think that would be a phenomenal thing. And obviously our pro leagues and obviously anything else that we can do to enhance the Division I college level.
Absolutely. Last year, you led the Hawks to their first Atlantic 10 tournament appearance, and Shu played here. You clinched 3 of the Final Four matches to end the season, and you clinched the spot with a win on the road at Fordham in the last regular season game. What was your first thought when you guys found out that you had qualified for the tournament? What was the first thought that went on in your head?
It's funny because I remember specifically the team found out before I did, and they all just started running around when we won that Fordham game, and they were all just celebrating. And then I later realized, and I was just happy for our guys because we had a slow A-10 start last year. These guys worked really hard and continued to make good progress throughout the year. And for us to win the last 3, which 2 were on the road, and our backs are against the wall. One of those wins to get in was against a ranked opponent, VCU. It was the first time that I think we've ever beaten a ranked opponent for the soccer program. So that was a hurdle that we accomplished. And I was just happy for the guys. I was just enjoying watching them celebrate. And I know it's been a while since the program has been there, and it was just exciting, just to get some success out of the hard work.
Absolutely. So the last question, we're going to put you on the spot a little bit. In your post-St. Joseph's professional playing career, you obviously played with a lot of different players. First part of this, who's the best teammate that you ever played with? Best player, teammate that you ever played with in your professional career? Best
teammate. There's probably 2. I think one, obviously, Pat Morris was one of my teammates. When I became a professional coach, I named Pat as my captain of my team. When I was the captain before I got named the head coach, and I named him just because he's a phenomenal guy. He's a large part of helping with the team chemistry on top of his soccer experience. The guys love him, and he's a good guy. He was a great teammate. Another one I would say I played a lot of years indoor, and he goes down as one of the top goalkeepers in history, was Victor Noguera. His daughter played with the U.S. national team at North Carolina, and he was a guy that took me under my wing and inspired me, and he saw potential in me and really motivated me as a young professional, coming from a veteran professional who didn't need to spend any time with me, and he did. So he was probably up there as well.
Sure. And how about, obviously fierce competitor, how about best opponent you ever played against? Was there a certain player that you'd travel to, or they'd come play home against you guys, and you were like, can't wait to play against him?
I remember my college days, Lexi Lawless on Rutgers. We went to we were in the A-10s then. Rutgers was in the Atlantic 10, and played against him, and there were some other former pros there out of Rutgers. So in the collegiate level, probably Lexi Lawless, who we see commentating on the World Cup matches. At the professional level, there's so many good ones.
Well, that says enough in itself, I think.
Yeah. I would say there's a combination in Cleveland. They had a dynamic duo. They called them, what's their names? Hector Marinara and Zoran. They called them Z-Man, and they just scored a bunch of goals. But they were icons in the indoor game and all-time leading point scorers, both of them. But both of them were in the same team, won a lot of championships. So they were tough to play against, those 2.
Well, Don, thanks for being here with us today, and good luck with the rest of your season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The Hawks are back in action this Saturday, September 27th against NJIT. Kickoff is scheduled for 7 o'clock p.m. right here on campus at Sweeney Field, so come on down and show your support for the Hawks. Our thanks to Don DeAmber for being here with us today, and thank you, Hawk fans, for tuning in. We'll see you next week on Take 5.